Welcome to today's episode of the J&J Podcast. I'm Jamie,
This is Jameson.
and we want to welcome all of our listeners in. Guess what, folks? Football is back. The NFL on the J&J Podcast. No, just kidding. We want to actually start out today's podcast with our first topic, and primarily today we're going to focus on the NFL. We got a couple of other topics that we'll, kind of quickly touch on, but today we want to start with the NFL and Jameson. My goodness, Sunday Night Football. Let's start there. I have lots of opinions about this, and it's something that I've been talking about now for a while. We've been discussing who the head coach should be for for the Ravens and who it shouldn't be. And yeah, let's first jump in on this Ravens versus Bills, because if you had told me that the score was going to be 40-25 with less than 4 minutes left in the game, and the Ravens were winning and they were going to end up losing that game, I would have told you, stay off the weed. But apparently they weren't on weed. This was a debacle. That's the way that I'm going to describe it. And I'll share my opinions about John Harbaugh a little bit later, but let's start there. Your thoughts about the Ravens versus Bills.
Just another catastrophic collapse under John Harbaugh's coaching tenure. Once again, you know me. Lamar Jackson's my favorite player. We always root for the Ravens, and it's wild. We were just talking about this 2 weeks ago. Given what happened to them in the playoffs, losing to the Bills, I remember I specifically told you, I said the Ravens need to come out, put together a strong performance week one, and I said they need to actually prove themselves and redeem themselves from the performance that they had, in the playoffs. And the thing that we pointed to last year in the playoffs, while they lost, they went away from the play style that literally won them games, and it was no different against the Bills on Sunday night in week one. You have a 40-25 lead with Lamar Action Jackson and Derrick Henry looking like he was at Alabama again. The brother had 175 rushing yards, and you stopped running the football. Then Lamar Jackson played almost a perfect game. No fumbles, no interceptions, didn't turn the ball over, made the right plays whenever he needed to. Zay Flowers had a phenomenal game. DeAndre Hopkins had a catch where it looked like he was back on the Texans with Deshaun Watson. Literally everything that could go right went right on offense. They put up 40 points in week one. Most teams across the league. In Buffalo. Dad, we're going to talk about it for some of the other games. Teams were struggling to put up 10 points, and they put up 40 on the road. So
40 against the Bills.
For you to lose that game, Dad, it was so bad. I don't sports gamble. But I saw, according to the odds makers, there was like 4 minutes and 58 seconds left in the game. This is at the point where the Ravens were up 40-25, as you were referring to. Literally, the odds said they had a 99.8% chance of winning the game, and they still somehow lost. So
when I hear that number, people will always say 99.8. So you say there's a chance. Yep. And there was. It's ridiculous.
And here's what I'm going to say. Josh Allen did turn into Superman, but a lot of it was on the defense. And Josh Allen would not have even been in those situations if John Harbaugh wasn't just such a dumb coach sometimes. Because here's my thing. It's 4th and 3, 4th and 2. Why would you not go for it with Lamar Jackson? Run a read option.
Especially since you hadn't been able to stop a cold all night.
The only person that came to play on defense was Kyle Hamilton. I'm glad that brother got paid. We talked about that a couple weeks ago. He was the only bright spot on defense the entire game. And people didn't even notice this. He was a fingertip away from even blocking the field goal at the end. But needless to say, it really was infuriating for me seeing the Ravens play like that. And it literally goes back to how they played last year. They get big leads, and then John Harbaugh just decides he wants to turn Lamar Jackson into a strictly just a pocket passer. And here's my thing. I get it if you don't have the weapons. You have Derrick Henry. Why would you? And my thing is, it's not like he was having a slow. The brother had 175 rushing yards in week one. Why would you stop handing the football off?
I'm going to jump in real quick, Jameson, because here's what I will say. Some will argue and say, well, he did fumble the ball. But guess what? He fumbled the ball later in the game. When you had an opportunity to burn some clock
and put the game away.
Put the game away, you quit running the ball. There was one drive. It was literally 3 back-to-back passes. Not one. I'm looking at them like, are y'all the Dallas Cowboys? Like, what kind of play calling is
I mean,
this?
that we talked about it.
Literally.
That play that Lamar made on like 2nd and 17 or something like that, where it's like, no, it was 2nd and 10,
It was
but
10.
what
Yeah.
should have been a loss
He
for
got 19
yeah,
yards
what
out
should
of
have
it.
been a loss for 10 yards was a gain of 19 yards. How do you
Yes.
see plays like that happen and then you don't go for it on 4th and 2? It just makes
And
no
then you
sense
just,
to me.
but in not only not going on it forward on fourth and 2, 4th and 3, but you don't run the ball.
That
What?
and that's the thing. It's the tale as old as time. It's the same thing that happened to the Falcons whenever they played the Patriots. When you
Yes.
have a lead like that, your objective is to not turn the ball over and milk the clock. It's
That's
not
right.
rocket science. Like we've seen it throughout NFL history, and it's like this has honestly become a recurring theme when it comes to John Harbaugh. Like they even showed the list over the past like 6 or 7 seasons. They've lost like 13 or 14 games like that where they're blowing leads under with him being the coach. So it's not like this
No,
is just
it was
something new.
17.
Yes, see,
They've blown
that's even
17
worse.
leads. It's way worse. And here's the thing. I'll just say this. And we got to talk about something else. We got
No,
to
you're
move on
good.
from
You're
this.
good.
I will say this though. He's been there for 18
Yeah,
years,
they got to
and I'm
switch it
sure
up.
they have to. Here's what I will say: they should have switched it up 5 years ago.
That's what I'm saying. Like
Like,
we talked about it. The Ravens have everything they need to win the Super Bowl, but with him as the coach, I don't think they're going to be able
except
to
a
get
good
it done.
coach.
Exactly.
I agree. Yes, I completely agree.
It's sad.
We went into this game, and by halftime, and oh, by the way, that was the longest
Yeah,
second and a
one
half, two
second I've ever
seconds.
seen in my life.
Absolutely. But it allowed them to score before halftime, which they needed to do because the Ravens got the ball back in first in the second half.
They gave Josh Allen the Patrick Mahomes game
Boy, did
clock.
they ever.
That's what
By
they
the
gave
way,
him.
I will say this. Listen, he earned that win. But the fact that I don't know that there was ever a holding call against Buffalo.
No, there wasn't.
I mean, but I saw so many holds,
Yep.
and I was like, this is Kansas City Chiefs all over again.
Facts. And
So
here's what I'll say lastly. It's like I don't want to discredit what Josh Allen did. Like
I'm not.
that brother was slinging that football.
Oh, he was definitely.
It looked like he was playing Madden and he had an X
Yes.
Factor on. Like it was absolutely ridiculous. But at the
Sliders
same
were all the way up.
sliders all the way up. Like all the X Factors, all the abilities. Josh Allen had it last night. I mean, Sunday night. But
Sunday night.
but on the flip side, he wouldn't have had those opportunities if the Ravens weren't so incompetent and just run the football, milk the clock,
Yes.
make plays.
Yep.
Like, come on, bro.
And you're gonna have to shore up your defense. I'm sorry. That was pedestrian.
And that's what's
at
wild.
best.
They have all the weapons. I'm like, bro, you have Jair Alexander, Nate Wiggins, Marlon Humphrey, and dudes are getting burnt like a piece of toast. It's absolutely ridiculous. Dad,
It's insane.
Keon Coleman looked like Andre Reed.
He
I
absolutely
couldn't
did.
believe it.
Yes, he absolutely did. It was frightening to watch. It really was. I literally sat there and I said, I cannot believe these cats are constantly throwing the football. It's literally 3 and out
Yep.
over and over again because you don't run the football.
Yep. And Dad, last thing I'm gonna say, look what happened whenever the Bills ran the football. You remember that play where James Cook broke off for like 57 yards? It's not
Absolutely.
rocket science.
That's right. And at that point, you had the defense, the Buffalo Bills defense, tired.
Exactly.
Chris Collinsworth said it. He was like, "Oh, these guys are tired. They have no way of stopping him. They're tired now." And then what do? You just start throwing the football.
And Dad, to your point, I'm okay with mixing it up some and throwing the football, but you can throw in a play action after you ran the ball two straight times. Keep
Yes.
the defense guessing. Whenever you come out and throw the ball 3 straight plays, like that's just dumb.
It's dumb.
It is.
It's not.
That's the
good
best.
Football.
That's the nicest way to put it. It's dumb.
Yes, it's dumb. All right, we've definitely milked that cow.
Yeah, a lot of passion.
Yeah. So speaking of cows, um, Cowboys versus Eagles. I mean, hey, but listen, let me go ahead and say it before you say it. Everybody's gonna say, "Oh, well, the Cowboys played pretty well." This is, they didn't look bad. Shanahan looks like he knows how to coach. It's the regular season. That's all I'm gonna say about it. It's the regular season. They still lost. There are things that you can be hopeful about, but it's still the regular season, and it's the Cowboys. It's what they always do. So I'm gonna give the floor to you because that's as much as I'm gonna say about it. They are going to do what they always do. get people's hopes up and then disappoint.
I agree. Here's what I'll say: the bright spot for me for the Cowboys was definitely what's the running back's name? Javonte Williams.
Javonte
He
Williams.
played really well, and then I will say this: Dak looked really good too. But here's what I'm gonna go and tell you: the Eagles, AJ Brown had one catch. Devontae
Yeah.
Smith had one or two catches.
Don't remind me. I had Devontae Smith
and I
on
had
my
AJ Brown on
yeah,
my fantasy team. So trust me, we're
and
in
I
the
have
same boat.
Javonte Williams, but I didn't play
Yeah,
him.
he was on the
So
bench. Yes, sir. So,
yeah,
but I'm like, the Eagles won that game with them playing bad, basically in the passing game. I mean, Jalen Hurts was still able to complete some passes, but majority of their touchdowns were rushing touchdowns. Then on top of that, the Cowboys looked pretty good on offense because Jalen Carter was not in the backfield. If that brother didn't do the Hawk Tua before the game, which was still one of the wildest things I've ever seen in my life.
oh my gosh,
I'm just being honest with you. Like
like
spitting on another brother before the first play is outrageous. Like it's bad ball.
but very quickly, according to
They said Dak
they
said
went back.
something to him.
Well, no, actually, there was footage of Dak spitting first,
Oh
but Dak
wow.
didn't spit on him. He spit in that direction, and then the dude retaliated by spitting on Dak. Dak didn't spit on him, but he kind of spit like at his feet or near him.
Well, I saw they announced today too because people are like, you know how Roger Goodell is? Are they going to suspend him? They're literally counting since he didn't play really any of the game. They counted that game as his
They counted that
suspension.
as a suspension.
Yeah, and they
yes.
fined him like $50-some thousand. That was it.
Well, I mean, I've seen worse.
True. No,
And
honestly, that was not one of those things where I'm calling for him to be suspended for multiple games. It's like
No.
he didn't play in week 1. I feel like he learned his lesson. You move on.
Yeah.
But here's the added point. It's like the Eagles are going to be scary as well. Saquon Barkley looked really good in that second half. Jalen Hurts, he could be in the conversation for MVP this year if he keeps playing like that, especially if the Eagles keep winning, which we think, as most people think they will. But the Cowboys are going to be the Cowboys. And here's what I'm going to say too. CeeDee Lamb, I love the brother. But you just got paid all that money. You're supposed to be an all-pro wide receiver. You want to be up there with the Jay Jettas and the Jamar Chases. You can't keep dropping the football, bro. Like, Dak Prescott is putting it right on the money. That last one, that's up for debate. It's like, but here's my thing. I think Justin Jefferson catches that last ball. Or I think Jamar Chase catches that last ball. Or I go as far as to say, I think Puka Nacua catches that last ball.
Absolutely.
So, there's no excuses. I'm like, brother.
Cooper Kupp catches that ball.
Facts. I'm going to say this. Emeka Ibuka from the Buccaneers. Yes. He's a rookie. You get what I'm saying? So there's no excuses.
Flowers definitely catches that ball.
That's what I'm saying. Amon-Ra St. Brown. There's a lot of names.
And CD's supposed to be,
he wanted to get paid like the top receiver.
He's supposed to be in that top tier wide receivers. You got to catch those.
You got to make those plays. So I'm like,
absolutely.
The Eagles didn't play phenomenal either. Like I said, especially in the passing game. But that was a game the Cowboys should have won, and as always, they lost.
Yeah,
that was their game to steal, and they weren't able to do so. So
So trust me, they won't be winning the division. They'll get behind because the Eagles. That game was in Philly.
Yep,
they're going to lose in Dallas too.
Facts.
Trust me, they'll lose in Dallas.
And now they don't have Micah Parsons either. We'll talk about that a little bit later.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So Chargers and Chiefs, that was on YouTube.
That was. I'll keep this brief. Huge shout out to the Chargers. The other Harbaugh. Huge shout out to him. He actually looked like he could coach.
Yes.
And I got to give a huge shout out to Justin Herbert. Ever since that brother's been rumored to be dating Madison Beer, he's just taking his game to a whole nother level. And it was on full display in week 1. Shout out to Justin Herbert. And we talked about it. The Chargers are a team that I think is really should be on a lot of people's radars, continuing out the rest of the season. My hope is for them that
kind of underneath the surface, but they're a team to be on the lookout.
It's like they got a run game, they got a solid defense. Like you still got players like Derwin James. I think Amarion Hampton is going to be really special for them. John Harbaugh, Jim Harbaugh always has really good running backs, and they always look good in his system. And I think this is
he's the quarterback whisperer too.
Facts. This that year where it's like if Justin Herbert really wants to put his name up there with like the top 5 to 10 quarterbacks, he needs to make the playoffs and at least win a round or two, in my opinion. And I think they have all the pieces necessary to do so. On the flip side, the Chiefs, they look terrible.
Yes.
It looked like the same team I saw in the Super Bowl. And I get it. No Rashee Rice. Xavier Worthy dislocated his shoulder. Still wild to me how Travis Kelce runs into his own teammate like that. Just nasty work. He needs to go and retire soon as well. It's like I think he's too focused now on the engagement to Taylor Swift. He's not running. He's not running crisscross like that anymore. It's time to go and hang it up, brother. I love Travis
Well,
Kelsey, but it's time to be done.
well, his R is gone.
Yeah,
I'm not going to expand on that, but it's gone. You know what
or
I mean. You
or
know what I'm
gone.
saying.
And here's
It's
what I'm gonna
gone.
say: Patrick Mahomes, like this is what ticks me off. And you know me, I respect Patrick Mahomes. He's still one of the best quarterbacks in the entire league. But did you see that play where he was falling towards the ground and
Yes.
they acted like he was just literally Houdini? I'm like, I seen 5 other quarterbacks do that, last year,
Yes.
and nobody hyped it up like that. But in spite of all that, they still lost. And I think going forward for the Chiefs, there was a lot of holes on their defense, and their offense looked pretty pedestrian. And I don't think that's a quick fix. You're not going to have Rashee Rice for the near future. Same with Xavier Worthy now with that dislocation of the shoulder. So the Chiefs, they could be 1-3 by week 4. The way they
Yeah.
looked. Just being honest.
I agree. Now we'll just have to see what kind of adjustment the league makes for them.
I was just
'Cause,
about to say that. You know how that goes.
I know how that goes. They should be 1-3. They might end up being 2-2,
Yep.
just because they'll get a call here and there.
Yep, I agree.
I do believe this. I'll say this, and then we'll move on to the next one. I think that the Bills are about to become the new Chiefs.
I
That's
agree.
what it feels like.
I already saw signs of that on Sunday Night
Yeah.
Football.
Yeah, no holding calls. Come on, man.
Yep.
That's like
No holding calls, and this still doesn't sit right with me. Lamar Jackson was the MVP last year.
Oh, absolutely.
That reminded me of, honestly, the voter fatigue that they used to get with Michael Jordan. When they gave Karl Malone the award that year, it's like you just get tired of voting for the same brother. That's what it seemed like to me.
LeBron too. Same thing.
Facts.
Yeah, absolutely. So, all right, Packers and Lions. That was an interesting. Listen, okay. Before we jump all the way into this, I'm just going to ask a quick question. So, is Campbell really a good
Time will
head
tell.
coach, or did he have really good offensive coordinators?
I think it's the coordinators. And here's what I'm gonna say.
My God, they looked terrible.
I don't think Dan Campbell's a bad coach, but it's similar to Andy Reid. Andy Reid's a phenomenal coach, but when he had Eric Bieniemy there, that's why the offense was so smooth and it ran the way that it did. I mean, you saw last night they collapsed in the second half, but look how much better the Bears' offense already looked having Ben Johnson there now. And it's like,
Absolutely.
Look how, and I get it. I'll make this excuse for the Packers. I mean, for the Lions, they're playing arguably the best defense in all football right now. And you have Lawrence Taylor reincarnated you have to go up against. So I'll give them that. But on the flip side, it's like, bro, you have Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jamison Williams, Sam Laporta, and you can only put up, 6 points? No, they put up 13. They got that late 13. Touchdown at the very end.
Well,
but up until that point, though, the game was already over. It's like, that it was so bad. Jahmyr Gibbs at one point had 8 catches and 8 rushes for 20-something yards. That's unacceptable. I didn't say 20-something yards apiece. Total.
Yeah, that's thanks.
And I know
that's
that because
terrible.
I have him on my fantasy team, but time will tell. By week 4 or 5, we'll really know how good of a coach Dan Campbell is, because if they continue to look like this against defenses that aren't as good, which, trust me, I'm not going to sound the alarms yet. I think the Lions will figure it out and turn it around. But there was already some glaring holes not having Ben Johnson now, and then on defense not having Aaron Glenn as well. There was some clear holes that were just they just stood out. On the flip side, though, and I said this last year, the Packers can make it out of the NFC. They're that good.
Yeah.
That defense reminded me of the Broncos defense that carried Peyton Manning and Brock Osweiler to the Super Bowl. Now, they already had a good defense.
And you add Micah Parsons.
And now you add arguably the best defensive player in football, motivated. This is no different than the Lucas situation. And it's wild that Dallas traded both of their superstars in the same calendar year. Still wild to me.
Insane.
But Micah Parsons, the snaps that brother did play, I thought I was watching Lawrence Taylor. No troll.
Yeah.
He was unblockable. And then Trayvon Walker, some of the other guys that they have on that defense came to play. I'm like, if they continue to play like that, and Micah Parsons getting a full snap count, they're going to be scary. And then on offense, Jordan Love, he could be in that MVP conversation. We said that last year. He was my pick to win MVP last year before he had that wrist injury that he suffered against the Eagles in Brazil. So if he stays healthy, Dobbs played phenomenal. Some of those players that they have, they have all the weapons, and Josh Jacobs look really good. So that's another team to be on the lookout for. Shout out to the Packers.
I agree. Last thing that I'll say about them, and then we'll move on to the next one. Jordan Love's health. If he stays healthy, Because my God, I mean, there were some of those I told you, I remembered it last year, and I said, man, that's one of the greatest throws I've seen.
Yep.
Where, and I mean, it was an Aaron Rodgers type throw.
Yep.
The ones that he fit in, and he had one of those again this past Sunday.
Yep. Yes, sir.
But there was a pass last year. I can't remember exactly who he threw the ball to, but it was over in the corner of the end zone, and I was like, ain't no way. What? How in the world
Yep.
that it was one of those kind of plays? Like, how did he even get the ball there? So if he stays healthy, they're scary,
I
very
1,000%
much
agree.
so. Dolphins and Colts.
We'll keep this brief. The
Dolphins
Dolphins,
stink.
the Dolphins suck. Tua Tagovailoa sucks. The Dolphins were so bad they made Daniel Jones look good. Just to put into
They did.
perspective, and that's no knock on Daniel Jones. He looked really good on Sunday, but we'll see if he's going to be able to keep that up. But the Dolphins absolutely stink. And if I'm the Kansas City Chiefs, I try to make that call and get Tyreek Hill back. In my opinion, because at this point, I feel bad for the people that have drafted him the last 2 years in fantasy. Tua Tagovailoa is just not.
Yeah,
it, bro.
me
I'm
last
sorry.
year.
And I drafted him in one of my leagues this year. He might not play again for me this year, Tyreek. I might release that brother because he's not going to be able to get the football and put up numbers with Tua in that backfield as the quarterback.
No.
And the only bright spot they had was Devon Achane, and that's it. But here's my thing: if the quarterback play is going to be so bad, teams can just start flooding the box, and he's not going to get a lot of rushing yards because the passing game was god awful. I'm sorry.
Well, that's what they did. They loaded the box and they made Tua throw it, and that's not a recipe. That was terrible.
And Dad, with all due respect, the Colts don't have that crazy of a defense. It's a middle of the pack defense.
Yes,
they were still trash.
Exactly. I mean, there's only one other quarterback, and we'll talk about him later, that looked worse. My God. Listen, no, I'm not going to say it because I couldn't have gone out there and thrown for. No, I couldn't have. But my God, it was, yeah. We'll talk about him.
Here's what I'm going to say. Shador Sanders gave them a better chance to win that game on Sunday. That's another topic for another day, but I'm like,
yes,
come on, bro. They're gonna go ahead and have to bench Tua, bro. It's bad. Yeah, I've seen enough.
I think so. Same. Steelers versus Jets. Now that was
phenomenal game.
That was a fun game. That was actually very fun to watch. Before you jump in, here's what I will say. I'm going to pump the brakes. Mm-hmm. Yes, Aaron Rodgers looked great, but it was one game.
Facts.
I need to see if he can maintain it. I still don't like his arrogance because after the game, the days of guys being humble and saying, like if they ask, well, did you really want to beat this team? Oh, it's just another game. No, that's not him. Yeah, I wanted to beat them. I wanted to show them this, that, and the. I'm like, man, you're becoming classless. That's the way I feel about him. Mm-hmm. I really do. You're a thrower of the football, and you're not even as good as you used to be. There's an old saying that you think more highly of yourself than you should. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you had success. You're a Hall of Famer. There's no question, but you're not that guy anymore. What's that little meme? You're not that guy. You're not that guy. You're just not. The Jets, on the other hand, Aaron Glenn is getting ready to build a dynasty in New York. I see it. And I think Justin Fields is going to make major strides, leaps and bounds. I saw a lot of good things from that team, so I'm excited for their future.
Facts. No, I completely agree 1,000%. I think Aaron Rodgers had a really good game, 4 touchdowns. He didn't throw for that many yards. So that was something I also noticed. But I think the brightest spot for me was Justin Fields. Him and then Garrett Wilson. It's like I really regret that I didn't play. I had Garrett Wilson on my bench. I'm telling you, I would have won in 3 out of 4 of my fantasy leagues if I would have played that, brother. So I'm very upset about that. But the Steelers have a really good defense. Jalen Ramsey, he was the one that actually sealed that game for them. He came to play. He was getting torched by Garrett Wilson on a couple plays, but that hit that he had at the very end, I was like, my goodness. Like, that was vintage Jalen Ramsey. So I think he's found the perfect spot for him to be in right now in Pittsburgh. That defense is really going to be scary. And like I told you a couple weeks ago, it might have been over a month ago when we were talking about the Aaron Rodgers thing, he doesn't have to do much. That defense is really good. He just got to go in there and not turn the ball over. He can kind of play how Tom Brady did whenever he was on, his last couple years with the Buccaneers. Like, make the right plays, be smart, and just don't turn the ball over. If they do that, the Steelers will be another playoff team like they always have been over the last couple years. And they might have a chance to make a little bit of noise come playoff time. But I'm really excited for what I saw from the Jets. And to your point, I think Aaron Glenn is the perfect fit to be there right now.
Yeah, we totally agree. I like what I see from the Jets. I think they can build upon this past week. It'll be fun to watch. This next one, I mean, it takes 5 seconds. Panthers versus Jags. Panthers stink. Trevor Lawrence played a he played a Pee Wee football team, and
Yeah.
that's the reason why the Jags won.
Yeah.
There's nothing more I have to say.
The only highlight play from that game for the Panthers side was J.C. Horn getting a one-handed interception, but it was like that meme wherever Chris Paul was like doing something when he was on the Suns and they were down 40. You know what I'm saying? Like he's
Right.
getting a layup and they're still down 40.
Yes.
But and here's what I'm gonna say because I love Bryce Young. He just didn't look good. And here's my thing.
He did not look comfortable at all. He never got comfortable.
And I had such high expectations given. We talked about this, the way he played the latter half of last year. I had a lot of expectations for him coming into the season. I'm like, he looked just like he did week 2 and week 3 of last year, right before he got benched. You know what I'm saying? Like, still scared to make some of the throws, not confident in some of the plays. Like, there was one play, it's like 4th and 3. He stepped up like he was about to rush the football, and then he threw it to a fan in the 5th row. I'm like, he must have saw somebody that had a Xavier Legette jersey on the 5th row because that's where he threw it to. And I'm like, plays like that can't happen, bro. Like that's not a coaching thing. It's like you gotta be confident in your game and make those type of plays. And I've seen him do it. That's why it's so disappointing. But here's the thing on the flip side. This is the last thing I'm gonna say about the Panthers. Their defense was abysmal. Like I had higher expectations. I'm like, you have Derek Brown back. He didn't do much. J.C. Horn, like I said, was the one bright spot I saw on defense, but they were getting torched. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm. It was.
And Travis Etienne had over 150 rushing yards, and he didn't do diddly skidly last year.
Exactly. So that defense, it was non-existent. It was just a fence, and it was a low fence that you could run right through. That's what that was. Because there was no D.
You remember we said a couple months we were like, man, they might win 7 games. They might be lucky to win 3 or 4 the way they looked.
Yeah, and those 3 or 4 will come at the end of the season when nobody cares. They're not winning on the front end. Trust me. No. Those wins will come at the end.
I agree.
So, all right, let's kind of do some quick takes on these last few. Cardinals versus Saints. Your thoughts on that one?
Honestly, very boring game. I'm happy that Marvin Harrison was able to get a touchdown, but the Saints are going to be another team that's just not going to be good. Their quarterback play is just pedestrian. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Saints stink.
Yeah.
And I still have to see more from Kyler Murray. He played good.
But only winning by 4 against the Saints is like, that's not going to cut it, bro.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, he's got to step his game up. It's time. It's time for him to make, if there's a jump that he can make, it's time for him to do it this year. That's how I feel. Commanders versus Giants. Okay. We can talk about the Commanders. There's really not a lot. Like, there's only one other team that is probably just as terrible.
And we just talked about them.
as the Panthers. And that's the Giants. Jameson, there's a stat, and I'm trying to remember exactly what it said, but it said that since 1940, I think it was either 1940, 1942, no other team besides the Giants has started the regular season by not scoring a touchdown in their first 3 games. So these cats, for the last 3 years in their first game, have not scored a touchdown.
Yeah, that's
They stink.
Yes,
they suck.
I ain't gonna lie, it's 1940. Like, you're talking about the Renaissance era. Like, that's crazy, bro. The 1940s is insane.
Yes. Yeah, it's bad. Commanders, on the other hand, could potentially be a team that comes out of the NFC.
I agree. I completely agree. I just saw Jaden Daniels kind of like tweak his wrist a little bit, so I'm hoping that's not going to be a concern. And it was his throwing hand too. That's kind of my big concern. And they already had him on the injury report. I'm like, that's never a good sign. But if he can stay healthy, they got Terry back. Fine, you know what I'm saying? So they got a lot of weapons. And that rookie that they got, Ja'Cory, that brother's going to be special. I'm telling you, he tough. Absolutely. He good ball. So yeah, I agree. the Commanders are another team to be on the lookout for.
Buccaneers versus Falcons.
That Baker Mayfield monster.
Yeah, and listen, I needed for him to play well, and he did.
He did.
Because some of my wide receivers certainly didn't.
Yep.
Buccaneers look like another team that,
Shout out
you
Todd
know,
Bowles, man.
I mean, my goodness. And Mike Evans is ageless. Like this dude,
Facts.
it feels like he gets better every year rather than taking a step back.
Facts.
So now I will say this, Penix
Yeah, the Falcons look really good too.
They look good.
Yeah, they did.
They really did. I think the right decision was made.
I agree.
You know, to have him start. So I think his future is bright. But I think the Buccaneers are a team to watch.
I agree. And I got to just give a huge. I mentioned his name earlier, but Emeka Ibuka, that brother already looks like he's been in the league 2-3 years. I'm telling you, I've said this for years. It's the LSU wide receivers and the Ohio State wide receivers. There's just something different in that water and the training that they're doing. They got to be on PEDs because there's no way. I'm telling you,
it feels that way.
It genuinely feels that way. I'm telling you.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Marvin Harris,
Garrett Wilson. Like,
yes,
there's just so many. Man. Like, we're about to see Jeremiah Smith in the next year. It's like, it's just, you can go down the list, and LSU, I'm not even going to start there. Like, there's just too many.
Too many. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Bengals versus Browns. So a lot of people are going to say, oh, well, why in the world did the Bengals not score a lot of points? First of all, that's a rivalry game. I don't care that it's the Browns. It's like when Carolina and Duke play. It's, it's a rivalry game. So those two teams, when they play each other, you can almost throw the record out.
True.
Now, the Bengals overcame it, but I wasn't like, I'm not
going to overreact. Like, Jamar Chase is not going to have 2 receptions again. Like,
that's right. T. Higgins, I think.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. So, I'm not,
I was going to say the brightest spot for me was their defense looked decent. Because, last year it was abysmal. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like,
absolutely.
To hold a team to 16 points, they were giving that up in the first quarter last year in most games.
Yes.
So,
exactly.
Like, yeah.
So, all right, we'll move on from that one. Raiders and Patriots.
We'll keep that. I'll keep that dumb brief.
But I know you have some strong opinions about the Raiders, though.
Oh yeah, I do. I think Pete Carroll is a perfect coach for that team, and I got to give a huge shout out to Geno Smith, man. Like, he looked really good, and I think Ashton Genty is going to be really good as well. I mean, he was able to get a touchdown, nothing too crazy yardage wise, total yardage wise, but he looked really good. And I'm like, the Raiders are another team to keep an eye on. I'm not saying they're about to win the Super Bowl, but they can give teams a lot of problems. They match up well on both sides of the football.
They might sneak into a playoff spot if people aren't careful.
I agree.
So, I mean, you know who my guy for the Patriots, that Drake May, but Patriots got a lot of things to fix.
Facts. They really do, and it's not his
fault. They really need and they need some rebuilding, but they'll get there.
They will.
49ers and Seahawks.
I'm gonna be honest. That was one of the most boring games I saw throughout the entire Sunday slate.
Which is why I had nothing to say about it.
Boring football. 49ers squeeze out the win. We'll go on to the next one.
Yes, Titans and Broncos.
I'm gonna tell you this: the Broncos won that game, and they got lucky that their defense bailed them out, and they also got lucky that every Titans wide receiver has butterfingers. It was so bad. They zoomed in on Cam Ward's father. I'm like, he's going to have a heart attack by week 3. If he was already stressing like that after week 1, I'm like, it's only going to get, brother, you have Calvin Ridley as your wide receiver number 1. You got to get used to that. I'm telling you.
Absolutely.
Like, the drops, you just going to have to, and I felt so bad for Cam Ward because some of the throws he was making, I'm like, bro, he is putting it on the money.
He's putting it on the money.
That brother like Warren Moon. No trouble.
Like bread baskets for real, and they could not catch. No. Now, who is his tight end? I forget.
I couldn't tell you. He got like one of them like African names. You know what I'm talking about? I'm sorry, but yeah, he does. I try to remember his name, but I'm like, think about what I just said though. Like, he doesn't have that many crazy of receivers. He has Tony Pollard, but it's like that team on paper still has some years of rebuilding to do. But
they do. He
was a bright spot. I'm telling you, like, if his receivers can catch the football, man, because he was putting it on the money. There, I watched the film. That brother was throwing lasers.
Absolutely. But if you don't have anybody to catch the ball, it doesn't matter how good they are.
And Bo Nix looked good. Cortland Sutton had an insane touchdown catch. So the Broncos look good. I think, Bo Nix is another guy that, if he continues to make some strong leaps, they're a team that you don't want to play against either because how good the defense is year in and year out. So
Absolutely.
yeah.
All right, we're going to wrap up the last two games.
Mm-hmm.
Texans versus the Rams, and then the Vikings versus Bears. I will say this: Matt Stafford must have found the fountain of youth.
Yeah.
Like, that dude, he listen, he's special. He makes the right play at
Yep.
the right time.
And they did enough to win. Like that was one of those low scoring games, but Matthew Stafford, just a Hall of Famer, first ballot. He just knows how to win those type of football games, and that's literally what they were able to do, just a grinded out win and a good win for them in Week 1. You don't want to lose
I'm
to the
concerned about the
Texans.
Texans.
I agree. I've been concerned about them since mid-season last year, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
Their offensive line did not look that good, and I felt bad for C.J. Stroud. I'm like, I think somewhat of it is defenses have figured out his game, but also too, dude's got to step up and make plays. Nico Collins was terrible. I'm like, bro,
He doesn't have any help.
He doesn't. And it's like, they don't have Joe Mixon right now either. I'm like, it's rough for them. And they're a team that might miss the playoffs, if I'm being honest.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think they are going to miss the playoffs. I really do.
Yeah.
Then lastly, the Vikings versus the Bears. What a difference an offensive coordinator makes.
Facts.
Like an offensive coordinating mind, in other words, is what I'm saying.
Caleb Williams looked really well. I was still kind of ticked off DJ Moore didn't get more involved, but Swift looked really good, running the football. Roma Dunze looked really good. And here's what I'm going to say. The brightest spot from that game was the fourth quarter, J.J. McCarthy.
J.J. McCarthy, absolutely.
I think, because I'm going to be honest, in that first half, I'm like, bro, they might need to go they're going to regret not re-signing Sam Darnold. But the way J.J. McCarthy played in that second half, more specifically in that fourth quarter, some of the throws he was making, and here's the difference between him and like a Sam Darnold or a Kirk Cousins. That brother can run the football. He had a 70-yard rushing touchdown. I'm like, the fact that you have a quarterback now with Justin Jefferson, Aaron Jones, they're going to get Jordan Addison back. They didn't even get TJ Hawkinson involved. They still were able to find a way to win that game. So that was a really, huge bright spot for them. And Justin Jefferson going to be Justin Jefferson. He had a really solid game as well. He's arguably the best receiver in the league for a reason. And, I've always said this. I really like Kevin O'Connell as a head coach. I think he's going to, I think he's the perfect type of coach for J.J. McCarthy and his continued development. But your thoughts?
I agree. Well, I don't listen to your point. If Troy Aikman right now were back there throwing the football, Justin Jefferson's going to get 100 yards.
Facts.
I mean,
It's
Troy
inevitable.
Aikman is 47. Troy Aikman is 97 years old, and Justin Jefferson will still get 100 yards receiving. That's just who he is. So, J.J. McCarthy definitely a bright spot. It'll be interesting to see his trajectory the remainder of the year and how he improves, but definitely something to build on. So Vikings team to watch, sneaking in the into the playoffs. I think that's there's a strong possibility that could happen, in my opinion.
I agree.
So we'll see. All right, very quickly, we're going to move on to our award predictions for the NFL this year. Jameson, who's your MVP prediction?
I mean, it's going to sound cliche. I think it's going to be either Lamar or Josh Allen again. Just being honest. I think my sleeper is Jordan Love, though.
Okay, I like that. I'm going to fool you with mine. As much as I want it to be Lamar, I think Jaden Daniels, based on how this team plays, I think he's a sleeper for MVP, and we'll just have to kind of see. Offensive Player of the Year, to me, that's going to be Lamar.
I think it's either going to be Lamar. I think it's either going to be him, Jamar Chase, or I do think once the Lions figure it out, Jahmyr Gibbs can be in that discussion.
That's a good pick.
He has that explosive ability. So, and he's one of the few wide running backs that can actually catch the football as well. So I think it's going to be one of those three.
Yeah. Defensive Player of the Year, it's Micah Parsons. I'm sorry.
I 1,000% agree. Not much needs to be said.
We didn't talk about that, but I honestly knew that we were going to be on the same wavelength
facts,
with that
1,000%.
one. Like, just seeing what he did in the few snaps that he got, he's motivated. It's going to be scary.
I can see him, and then outside of like a defensive lineman, maybe Kyle Hamilton, because he does it all.
Yes, that's a good point.
Yes, sir.
That's a good. But they got to start stopping teams.
Facts.
Like,
they can't allow 15 points
41
in
points.
2 minutes. They just can't. They can't allow that.
No, so I agree with you there. Rookie of the year.
I
I
think
don't
it's
really
going.
have one.
Well, you know they do offense and defense. I think offense is either going to be Ashton Jinty or Cam Ward,
Okay,
or I said his name. It could be Abuka,
it
for the
could be Luka.
Buccaneers. One of
Yeah,
those
yeah.
three. What about you?
No, I agree with literally the ones that you named. Now, here's the thing. I think Amari and Hampton, and yes, there's some bias here because I'm a Tar Heel,
Yeah,
but I think that as Justin
that's a
Herbert
good pick
goes,
too.
so does Amari and Hampton, and I
Yeah,
think that they're going to have to include him more, and they're going to have to mix in the run a little bit more. So I think he has a chance. I
I
do.
agree.
Um,
Defensive rookie of the year.
yep,
I think it's going to boil down to two names. I think it's either going to be Abdul Carter. He's literally one of the few bright spots the Giants
that's my
have.
pick.
And I think a sleeper might be Malachi Starks. I think he's
Hmm.
really good. Yeah, he's my sleeper pick. But if I really had to put money on it, it's Abdul Carter, if you ask me.
Yep, I completely agree. He's just special.
Yeah.
Um, Coach of the year.
Whew. I could see Matt LaFleur if the Packers continue to be good, or I could see Aaron Glenn. If the Jets can win
Yep,
10 games, why
yep.
not? You know what I'm saying?
Agreed. My this one's going to be a sleeper, but you mentioned him a little bit earlier, and it's according to how McCarthy, Kevin O'Connell, I think has a chance,
I like that.
um, because I think he can actually get the Vikings in the playoffs.
And
I
they don't
really,
have that
really,
high expectations to your point. Like if
that's what
they
I'm
miss the
saying.
playoffs, I think people would be upset, but it wouldn't be that big of a shocker, you know?
No, because the expectations aren't that high.
Facts.
So if they get into the playoffs, he's probably going to be Coach of the Year.
I like that.
So we'll see. All right, we're gonna wrap it up with just a few other topics. Very quickly, Jameson. I'm gonna shift to the WNBA. Aces have won 14 straight games.
Asia Wilson,
And
I apologize, bro.
yeah, but listen, I was familiar with your game, but as Roy Jones Jr. said, I must have forgot.
Yeah,
Um,
I just
I mean,
and here's what I'm gonna say. I genuinely, I love me some Nafisa Collier. I feel
mhm,
bad for her because it's
I
Asia,
do.
bro. It ain't
Oh, it's
like
Asia.
it should be unanimous at this point,
It
if
really
you
should.
ask me.
We
Um,
remember we talked about this, and we were like, it ain't even close earlier in the season.
yeah, it ain't,
Until
and you're right. It ain't even close now.
it's not close at all now. There's no second place. I don't care who second place is. It doesn't matter.
And I'm gonna keep it a
Um,
stack with you. The way they are playing, if they keep this momentum heading into the playoffs, they will win it
they're
all.
winning it.
I'm
They're
telling you,
winning
they're
it.
winning it all.
Yes.
Like there's
Yes.
not another team, especially I think what's scary is when the game slows down, they'll be even better come playoff time.
Exactly. That's
Like
right.
people aren't
Because
talking
you go to
about
her
that.
in the half court, there's no stopping her.
That's what I'm saying. Most teams
Yeah.
don't like most teams have a star player, but they can get their buckets in transition off of a lot of screens. You can literally give the ball to Asia Wilson. She's either getting a bucket, getting fouled, or she's drawing in the defense, and somebody's getting wide open shots. It's that simple.
Absolutely. Dejanara Carrington, I think she was on live. I don't remember which.
Oh, I saw that.
So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and they asked her, "How do you stop Asia Wilson?" And she said, "You can't.
You don't.
Like
Yeah.
you don't." And that was
I saw her.
hilarious.
She was like, you hope she fouls out. that's
Right.
that's your only
But
hope.
but her face was so serious.
Yeah,
She was like, you don't."
you can't.
And I agree. So yeah, it's Asia and it's not close.
Facts.
All right, 30 seconds. Angel Reese situation.
We've
The
said
Sky
this
look
for
like
months.
idiots.
The Sky are idiots, and I hope she gets traded to the Dallas Wings. I want to see her
Yep.
play with that Paige Becker's monster.
Ooh.
Mm.
Ooh.
And that I've been
And
saying
hit,
this for months, so I was like, they don't value the competitive nature and spirit that she brings to an organization.
they don't.
They don't value that, and they don't value the growth of players. Like I was looking back, the Sky have had so many good players that they were unable to develop that have gone on to be like all stars on other teams. Like Gabby
Yep.
Williams, is a prime example. Like they've had all-star level players that they just failed to develop, and Angel Reese has already become an example of like she's defied the odds because like she's already breaking records and doing all that with arguably the worst facilities in the league and the worst
Yes.
coaching staff and the worst front office. I want to
It's
see her out of
terrible.
there. Yeah,
Oh, listen. I saw something on it might have been Twitter, and they said that NBA execs are actually advising her. Like she's getting calls from people who are in the
and
NBA,
they're
and they're
saying don't
telling her
play.
you need to request a trade in the
Yeah,
offseason.
yeah,
Yeah.
she
Like
needs to.
she does. And it's come back to bite them, this whole, saying things that were detrimental. Because here's the crazy part. She said what she said, but then two of her teammates got on there and talked about her. Now, how is that not detrimental
And
to
here's
the
what's
team?
wow. She didn't say not one lie. She said her teammates
Oh,
suck, basically suck. Look what happened when she didn't play. They
that's
suck
right.
even more. They stink.
What was the point guard's name? She didn't score. I
Um,
forgot her name.
I know who you're talking about. And then
You know what I'm talking about.
and then the girl that replaced her played 29 minutes. A goose egg. Nothing.
That's it. That's
Nothing.
it. No, that's what I was talking about. That's what
Yeah.
I was talking about.
Yeah.
Yes.
But they literally
And
proved their
then
point.
they absolutely proved a point. So, shout out to Angel Reese. We hope that you get out of that situation soon and very soon, because even the writers in Chicago, all of them basically came out and said, no, Angel's right.
Yep.
This has been brewing underneath the surface for a while. They don't appreciate the fact that she's a competitor, that she brings it every night, and some of her teammates don't do that.
Facts.
So, shout out to her.
Yep.
Um, we're going to wrap up this episode with what we always do, moving the needle, and then we'll give our predictions for Thursday night and for Monday Night Football. So, Jameson, what is your moving the needle for this week?
I'll keep this brief because we haven't talked about the NBA. My moving the needle is, I don't know if you saw earlier today. Luka's playing for the national team, and he got nominated for Best Defensive Player of the tournament. I'm like, Luka and Best Defensive Player. It's scary hours for the league come October.
Man,
I'm telling you.
Listen, if he plays at that same level, yeah, it's
Ooh,
frightening.
that Luka.
Oh my goodness! Wow. Yeah, that's unexpected.
When I saw the words Doncic and Best Defensive, I thought it was NBA Centel tweet. I ain't gonna lie.
Oh, you might want to go triple check it to make sure it wasn't. That is that's hard to believe.
Facts.
But no, that's good. That's good stuff.
Yeah.
As you would say, that's good ball. So, my moving the needle. Everybody knows I'm a Tar Heel homer, and I know that there are going to be some mixed reviews about Bill Belichick. The first game was an abomination. I mean, it really was. It was really bad. It was not good, and with all the hype. But I had no expectations coming in this season. I simply
and you said that. You said that for months.
I said it for months. I said, I'm simply going to watch. And here's what I did see. I saw progression, even though it was UNC Charlotte. Because, see, people are like, oh, UNC Charlotte. What folks don't understand is UNC Charlotte is going to be very, very good in their conference.
I agree.
They are. Their new head coach came from Ohio. He's a winner. He's getting ready to get that program, steered back in the right direction. Absolutely. What I did notice about this Bill Belichick coached Carolina team is we didn't turn the football over, and we didn't make a bunch of dumb mistakes. Could we have capitalized more and scored more? Absolutely. But I see progress. Major difference between
too.
Absolutely. Gio played, a very solid game.
Yep.
Nothing crazy, but he played solid. He didn't turn the ball over. He made plays with his legs when he needed to. I see progress, and that's all I can ask for right now, because this is literally a team with 70 new players.
Which is outrageous.
70. Listen, that's the very definition of a rebuild. That's all this is.
This is basically an expansion team.
That's right.
70 new players is outrageous.
This is the Valkyries.
No, facts. Like, that's actually insane.
With no superstars on the team. That's who this is.
Yeah, that's insane.
So I see progress. I like what I'm seeing. I think Bill Belichick will right the ship. Again, I had no expectations coming into this year, and I think it's going to be a 2 to 3 year process.
I agree.
So I'm just going to enjoy the ride. But it was fun watching that game and seeing Gio develop and move the needle, pun intended. So. All right, our last topic. We want to give our predictions for Thursday night football, and man, it's
a good one.
That's going to be a good one. That's a really good one. The Commanders versus Packers. Jameson, what's your pick?
This is such a tough pick, especially given all the discussion we just had regarding both teams. But I got to go with the Packers. I really want to say the Commanders, but that Packers defense is tough, man. And if Jaden Daniels already isn't coming into the game fully healthy, and they know that, they're going to go at him. So
this is at the Packers, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah, it's in Green Bay. I'm going to take the Packers.
Yeah, I'm taking the Packers too. I agree with everything that you just said. Jaden Daniels is going to have to play lights out, but I also think that defense is going to give him some fits. Yeah, there. That's going to be a tough one. So I take the Packers as well. And then there are two games on Monday Night Football. We got the Buccaneers versus Texans. I'll go ahead and tell you, I think the Texans are getting ready to be 0-2.
Yeah,
I do.
I nothing more needs to be said from me. I completely agree.
That Baker Mayfield monster.
The Baker monster.
I'm serious. Yeah, and I'm not saying that because I got him on my team, but I am glad I got him on my team.
No, he a monster.
Um, and then the Chargers versus Raiders.
That's another great
This is
game.
that's going to be a good game. I'll go ahead and give you my pick. I've got the Chargers.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah,
It's kind of a toss up, honestly,
yeah,
but I just think that Chargers defense is better than the Raiders defense. I think that's what it's going to boil down to. And as good as they have Ashton Jensen, I still think the Chargers are going to be able to control the game because how good their run game was if they can
great.
replicate what they did in Week 1. So I got the
And I think
Chargers.
Herbert. Now, to me, I will say this: this is a grow-up game for Herbert.
I agree. You can't go in there
Like
and lose and just wet the bed. Like you got to go play well.
that's right. You have to play well.
Yep.
So, yeah, but I'm gonna pick the Chargers, even though it's gonna be, a home game for the Raiders. I'm
Facts.
picking the Chargers.
Yes, sir.
So, all right. Well, that's gonna wrap up this week's episode. We appreciate everybody listening in. We'll see you, and we're back on our weekly rotation. So we'll see you next week. Same bad channel, same bad time. Thanks for listening. Peace.